Oh yes, this is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. Today's show is sponsored by Ringmaster, on a mission to launch B2B podcasts that create relationships, generate revenue, and drive growth. Ringmasterlive.com. Bam. All right, I've hit record and I'm so excited for today's conversation. I can't wait to learn from my guest today. She's absolutely amazing, and we have been trying to get her on the schedule for a long time. She's a very, very busy person, and she now has come up and granted us a little bit of time, and I can't wait to introduce you to her. Where is she from? Who am I talking to? Amazing technology. I'm literally live chatting with the top marketer in Estonia. I'm just going to put it out there. The number one marketer in all of Estonia. They're live. And you know, Estonia, for those who are not in the country, is one of the highest startup communities in the world, competing with Israel. Move over, Israel. Estonia is coming into town. This guest, she is a marketing thought leader and leader of teams, a mentor, a team builder, an innovator. She is formerly the chief marketing officer at Cleveron, and now she's on sabbatical after 5 years of nonstop work and doing consultations. She can't not work, so she's doing some consultations and some work on the side. Edith, Väli, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Casey. It's an honor to be here. And thank you for the introduction. I'm going to use that as a headline on my CV for the next application.
Yes.
That would be perfect.
You can cite your source. The Hardcore Marketing Show has said you are the number one marketer in all of Estonia. Congratulations.
Yes, of course. Now I will add a backlink to your website as well. So
yes,
win-win.
Exactly. And now it goes on Wikipedia. It's everything. It's all solid. So I'm going to shut up. I can't wait to learn from you. And I'm going to pass you this thing. It's heavy, but I know you're all tough in Estonia.
Yes.
Ugh. Okay, here we go.
I'm a country girl.
You got it?
Yes, I got it. Thanks.
All right.
It is quite heavy. It is heavy.
It is heavy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so too. Thank you. I was feeling a little weak today. Take Thor's hammer and smash for me some kind of marketing myth, bogus strategy, misconception. Set the record straight once and for all.
Well, as I'm talking to the startups who I'm counseling, that they keep on having this idea that building your brand, either locally or internationally, requires a lot of money, a big budget. But it doesn't. You just need to be very clever and need to work very, very hard and just, think big. Everything else is doable, even without money.
So where does this come from? Why is that natural tendency to think that we need to just spend, just throw those euros and dollars and all the things all over the sky to try to build your brand and get attention? Why do we sort of knee-jerk react and think that we have to do that?
I think it comes from the media, because you, if you're a marketer, you're always, reading news about ad spend and media spend and big budgets and big brands that have big budgets, and also Google ads and display ads, and everything is so popular. So you immediately think, okay, I need so much money. But you don't. You just need to figure out what is best for you, what works, what doesn't, and need to go from there.
What works, what doesn't, go from there. So simple. It's not the money. Now, you mentioned it was almost like a list here. You mentioned you have to be clever, you have to work hard, you have to think big. I love that. I feel like you need to write a book while on sabbatical. So I know you were going to just hang out, but write that book in Mexico. Honestly, on the laptop, pina colada, let's go, write that book. But tell me about clever. What does it mean that you don't need a big spend, you just need to be clever?
You need to be clever in terms of, first of all, of course, the basics. The number one is the product market fit. What is your product? How does it fit to the market? Are you good? Or are you better than anyone else? Why are you better? So this is kind of like a basic. Why are you doing this business in the first place? Because really, sounds a little bit rough, but if you have a mediocre product that's not better than anything else, then you should probably find new product. The second would be know your competitors and customers. And when I say know, I mean like really, really, really get to know them.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially if you're talking about marketing. First, your competitors, who are they and what are they doing in marketing? What are the messages they are using? What are they offering? What is the style of the marketing? How can you stand out? This is kind of like a framework for your own work, because then you know how to differentiate from the competitors, and also what from the business wise, what are you offering that is different or better? Even down to the pricing. What is their pricing logic? Can you do something better? And when we are talking about customers, then personas. Who are you talking to? What do they need? What channels do they use? Excuse me.
Yeah, and the personas.
Personas, yes. So these are kind of like the basics. But the clever point is now we're getting to the marketing part. My favorite is your strategy is all these steps kind of defined what you need to do, what are your messaging, and then you just have to think of, okay, you don't have a big budget, but what can you do? My personal favorite is kind of the thought leadership angle and PR, because when you have a person then that is very good at writing, then everything else that can be followed, it can be for free.
Right.
If you have a person who's doing blog posts, then your blog posts are very, very good, and they are written in an angle that is, if you are a customer, it says what's in it for me. So if you put out a messaging that, okay, there's a candy. We have a candy that has a new wrapper. Okay, fine. There's a candy that has a new wrapper. So why? Why does it matter for me? But if you're saying that, oh, moms and dads, we have a candy that the kids can open in a second, that's a whole nother angle. From
which may or may not be good.
Which may or may not be good. Exactly. It's depending on the parent.
The other day, my son asked for a cookie, and I gave him one. But then later on, when I came downstairs, the container, the Tupperware container that had the cookies, it wasn't perfectly sealed. And I know if I was going to seal it, I would push it down, push the air out, and seal it. So I'm like, that little guy got an extra cookie. So yeah, so it's interesting that it may be just a clever twist on the way you word something, or maybe you make the candy too hard to get into. This wrapper is only able to be opened by parents.
Exactly. Perfect Halloween present.
Yes.
They have a bag full of Halloween candy, but they cannot open it. So they don't eat a ton of candy at 10 seconds.
Right. And then the parents can eat it over the next several days afterwards.
Secret stash. You don't even have to be secret because they cannot open it.
Right. It's right out there. They can't open it. Okay, here you go, Mom. Here you go, Dad. Thanks.
Sounds a bit cruel, but still.
Cruel marketing.
Yes.
All right. So what's fascinating though is you listed the basics was like a half a page. Like there's some core things that you just got to do.
Yes.
Table stakes, really. I had a question though. Can you do something different than your competitor? You're evaluating when you said really get to know your competitors. Why you? Like, what if you're just a mediocre product? How do you figure out what you do different from them? Oftentimes I've had like a competitor, they're just so similar. And it's like, how do I differentiate myself?
Well, depends on what are you doing. I mean, are you exactly the same as your competitor, or are you not? There's not. I don't think there is a same company or a same product. There's always something different. And even if the product is the same, you can build around it. Maybe you are offering something extra. Maybe you are offering like a different pricing model. Maybe you can just differentiate with humor. I mean, if you're taking a beer brand, for example, I love Guinness beer. Not the taste, but the marketing. And what they no, I'm not really a dark beer drinker, but they're producing dark beer, and they're difference was that the beer was very slowly had to be poured very slowly because it gets the foamy, and you have to let the foam settle. But they turn it into a strength in their marketing. And I think that their slogan still is the some things are worth waiting for.
I love that.
Yeah. So basically, they took something that was their weakness compared to competitors, and they created a story around it and made it as a strength. Because good things are waiting for us, so it must be good beer.
Must be good beer. Must be way better than that Budweiser, Bud Light, super cheap.
Exactly.
What's the number one beer in Estonia?
I think it's a local beer, Saku Original. It's a light beer, like a lager beer.
Nice.
They're very good. We have very good candy, very good beer.
I'm sold.
So, yes, come. Winter is here, so
we need a startup event. For sure.
Yeah, you just Google. I think there will be an event in every month. So
amazing. Okay, so clever, work hard, think big. We've talked through some of the clever now. Tell me about working hard. Tell me about you can't buy your way out of this. It's hard work you got to do.
Well, first of all, of course, I love PR because when you get your message out there, you get to be published. It's free. Yeah. You just need to be very mindful of your PR strategy, building relationship with journalists, not spamming them, but sending good things, writing articles, doing PR outreach, building these relationships. And the content you create has to be very, very useful for them. Also, if you already have customers, or even if you are clever and you can bag a customer that has a known name. You can use it for marketing purposes, doing joint press releases of the cooperation. Yeah. We had at Clever, and I had a very nice cooperation with Albertsons from US.
Oh, wow.
Retail chain. They put up one of our grocery robots, and we did a joint press release. And we agreed that they are distributing it in the States, and we are distributing it in Europe. And the reach was 365 million. So that's big for us.
So across all of yes, that's a huge press release.
That is, and I wrote my part. Their team wrote their part. They distributed to their channels, their usual channels. We distributed to our usual channels, some a press lists, and some journalists we know personally, and that was it. And it was very nice.
Wow.
And another example is that we use Clever, and the main channel was LinkedIn, and continues to post news there and trying to get interesting angles. And there was this Japanese website, Tech News, because Japan was like the target market is for the next 5 years, but it takes time to get there. But they have this tech site that is very popular, and we've tried everything. I'll even translating press releases into Japanese and sending them, and didn't get published. And then there was the news on a LinkedIn page, the new product, and they picked it up from there, translated it themselves, and then got published.
Interesting.
So you never know.
It worked that way. It worked on LinkedIn, but not the other way.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
that's a problem. But you never know if you don't try.
Right.
And yes, so press releases. Cooperation with customers is very, very a good source of getting extra points.
Yeah.
And what we also found out, if you need to track and measure everything all the time, so that gives you a sense of what is working, what is not. And one of the surprising things we found out was that when businesses are very competitive. So if you're talking about, we had car dealerships, very competitive space. But that also leads to that the competitors are watching each other, what they are doing.
True.
And when the first car dealership bought a parcel locker to give out their keys after hours so you can get your car serviced, and they put up a video of that on their own Facebook page, just for as an explainer to the customers. Now you can get your car even after we are closed. We had requests from almost everyone, all the others. So because it's a very tight space, and so competitors are watching what everybody else is doing. So when you get your own customer to talk about you, then it's also free advertising.
Right. They become like your influencers, and they're promoting the message.
They're promoting, yes, your advocates. So that's also free advertising, but that means that you have to provide a very good service and very good product. But oftentimes it just depends on asking, hey, can we come, and even if you are if you have a physical product, can we come and take a picture of the product? And then you have a product with a big international logo on it on your website.
Wow.
Creates trust, creates awareness, very nice PR, and it also costs you a photo.
Right. It costs you basically nothing.
Yes. To do that. And one other point of talking about pictures and videos, when you start out and when you are in the beginning, yes, it's good to have very nice and professional photos and professional videos. But if you don't have money, then do it yourself. Doing it yourself is still way better than just using your random stock photos. Because just stock photos are so known, and they kind of give you this fake impression.
Yeah, like it's a fake company.
Yes. So
that erodes trust, right? To
exactly.
Be fake like that. Trust is the key ingredient.
Trust is the key ingredient.
Yeah.
So even if they're not perfect, and they can be better, of course, but you still have real pictures. So whenever you have like social media posts or social content, just do the pictures. At least you have something. Right. And when you get the money, then you can redo the pictures and have a professional photograph or something like that.
But not too good, because you'll look like clip art again. You'll look like stock photos.
Yes. But also use friends and family, and someone always knows someone who does like photos, and even better than just your standard mobile photos.
Yeah, I mean, we had someone on our team. Liam actually took some photos of our team yesterday. Yeah. And we have a curtain that we put up between the door, and it made a nice backdrop. And he brought in a nice camera, and we did it that way. No studio necessary. No, it's just someone with a good camera, good opportunities. So it's great. It's a great point. Start, and it's not even sloppy. It's still professional looking. Yes. But you don't need to hit that 100%. You don't need to spend the money, to your original point.
The point is to get going.
Get going.
You can fix that later. Of course, everything needs to be perfect. No grammar mistakes, of course, none at all. But pictures, videos, you can perfect them.
That's a great point. Just because the pictures can get fixed later doesn't mean the grammar can. Like you can't have a spelling error.
No.
Just the other day, I had a candidate for a position emailed me in the first sentence of the subject line. I pulled it up on the Word doc or whatnot, and it showed me one word was spelled incorrectly, and it even showed it to me like that. So it's not like you can hide it. Like the program was like, this word is a typo. Like, first sentence, like, and I didn't even write this. I just saw this. So you're right. You can't allow the grammar. You can't allow the writing, the spelling errors, no matter what.
I always bring out an example from my own experience. After university, I worked as before a news editor in a public broadcasting radio, and I got an angry fan mail from a reader, and I had pronounced a name or an Arabic name wrongly. So yes, I did. It was my mistake.
Well, you pronounced it wrong. What was it? A video?
Yes. It was radio.
Oh, it was
So,
radio. Okay.
radio, yeah. But
Was it?
I
Do you
got
remember the name? Was it like a last name or a first name or?
it's these longer Arabic name that is very difficult to pronounce for us
Definitely.
in
Oh, yeah.
Estonian as well. But I got a fan mail to my email, and it was like half page of just cursing and saying that how unintelligent I am to be pronouncing it wrong. But the word intelligent was misspelled.
Boom.
Boom. So this is the example I always do, because spelling is very, very important.
How? Oh man, spelling is very important. So that again is table stakes. So the PR, the videos, this again, all very clever, smarter, not harder, right? Smarter,
Yes.
not harder. But then there is the hard work element. So how does that blend into all these clever tests?
Well, no, content creation is the hardest work, and also one of the biggest gaps I see is that marketing is not involved with sales activities. Even just, as a marketer, go on sales calls, talk to the customers, talk to the clients, see how the sales is selling. What do they need actually to sell? So that's kind of information gathering, takes time. Content creation, do interviews like a journalist. Gather information, even talk with the clients of what channels do they use. I just finished kind of like a rebranding of Cleveron's marketing just before I left. And I did, I think, over 20 interviews with the in-house people, with clients, with partners, just to see how they feel, what they need, what are the comments, just to get the feel of the kind of the space. And you get so much information for content, to help out sales teams, everything that. So, and of course, building relationship with press is continuous. You have to be continuous. And also the thought leadership angle on blog posts, news, you have to do them continuously. It can't be like, okay, I'll do one article today, and maybe if I feel like it 2 months from now, it just doesn't work.
How continuous does the thought leadership have to be?
Daily?
Weekly?
No, maybe even weekly, maybe too much. It depends, of course, the industry, but every 2 weeks. And if you can get a very nice kind of like a white paper, something that is really useful for coming from the parcel locker industry, like the key things you need to figure out when you want to start your own network. This is kind of very helpful content to the kind of your potential client who is still in the looking phase, having the funnel set, who's still in the first part of the funnel. They're finding this content, okay, maybe that's useful. And even if they're not connecting you, they already know your brand. Right. And they also know that you are clever because you offer all that information,
Right.
And you can also repurpose it, everything. You can take a photo and have that up in one point, then zoom in on an element. From a white paper, you can create loads and loads of social media posts, surveys, create surveys. Then you can, from a good survey, you can create content, I think, for a month or at least.
I bet.
Yeah, so you kind of put in your effort to one place, but then you can maximize that effort and double it, triple it. It doesn't really make sense to like do a survey, then you have these are the answers, and then you leave it at that place.
Right. Wow. So we're clever ideas. We're thinking about smart ways of doing things. We're putting in the work, the consistent work, the relationships. We can't just do relationships once a month. We just talk to a friend once a year. You have to be consistent. talk to me about thinking big. What does it mean to think big?
Thinking big is go and do and ask. It's very often that no, we're just a little company, and I don't know, maybe your customer testimonials, very good, big in creating trust. Oh, I don't know, maybe we should let's not bother them. That we provide them products and then it's okay. Go and ask. Cooperation with huge customers. I've done cooperations with H&M, Albertsons, ICA, Falabella from Latin America. Just ask. They are ready. I mean, one of our customers is Walmart, and they have more people working for them than we have people living in Estonia.
Oh no, really?
Yes. So Estonia has 1.3 million people. So it's a small country. It's a teeny tiny country. So you can imagine that you are a marketer from even the smallest town, and then you go and talk with the H&M. Oh, can we do a press release? And the answer was yes.
Yeah, I looked it up. They have 2.3 million employees in Walmart.
There you go.
Wow. But it doesn't matter, right? You should go and ask. What's the worst that could happen?
Yes,
I mean, have
they
you had
say
people
no.
say no, and then nothing happens, right?
Yes.
I mean,
and think wider than your product is even in communication, in marketing. Okay, so you are selling candy or parcel lockers. Your marketing doesn't have to be about candy or about parcel lockers. It's about marketing trends. Yes, customer service. One of the key advantages of parcel lockers and robots is because that they are self-service, and even the robotic solutions, they hand out the parcel in 7 seconds. But for a customer, that means you don't have to stand in queue. You don't have to queue. You don't have to wait 15 minutes.
right.
And if you put it in numbers, 15 minutes, 1 week, 4 weeks, every year, it's a big waste of your time.
It adds up.
Yes. So think about that way. Do not just talk about your product. It's what you are creating with it, or wider. And even when creating content, share some good articles. I know the LinkedIn algorithm doesn't really like that, but still you can try, test. Does it work? When I started out in 5 years ago in Cleveron, I didn't have a budget. So what I did was the parcel volume was growing, and I found some good articles from New York Times and from different specialty magazines, and I shared them. I created that for a content. Media mentions. Whenever we got a media mention, it was an event. So shared that. We are talked about in Business Insider, so it's kind of a holy grail. Share that, use that content, and just think big. Don't just think about your product and what does your product do. What are you doing in a wider sense, and how does the world around influence yourself?
Man, I love that. The next question, really, Edith, who are you? Who are you? How do you know all these things? I just feel like I literally got an MBA in marketing in only a few minutes. Of course, that's a tip of the iceberg, I'm sure. But like, who are you? How do you know these things? Can you take me back in time to like little you days? When you were growing up, did you know you're going to be a CMO and advising all the fastest growing startups in Estonia on how to do marketing? What was it like?
Well, it was quite interesting because I was born during Soviet Union.
Really?
Estonia was still occupied by Russia, and it was the Soviet Union. So I got to grow up seeing one country coming from like socialism to capitalism and all that changes.
Wow.
And I realized that there was a doll called Barbie when I was 11. I learned about Lego, I think, about the same time.
Yeah, Legos are great.
Yes, because foreign things, foreign TV shows, we didn't see them. And even there was a trend that when once you've got a foreign plastic bag, like a plastic bag, you ironed it straight, and it was a status symbol. You put an old, your standard plastic bag inside because to carry the goods around, but the outside was the foreign bag because that was like the status symbol because that was foreign.
Wow.
So this is
like a grocery bag that.
Yeah, it's like a grocery bag,
from
your
a store or
standard
something.
grocery bag. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So right about the time it was turning into capitalism, and it was its own
Yes.
country, you're a young child, and Barbie, Legos.
Barbie, yes, new world opening. Like there was like another world. Wow. Okay. But I am from. I grew up in a little village, like population 100, and then I was always interested in history. Because I love history. For me, is very logical. Like I see logic in things that normal people don't. I think.
Sure.
It's like causes and action. It's like butterfly effect. History is like a huge butterfly effect. So I went to the university study history. I have a bachelor's degree in history, and I worked as a foreign news editor because I focused on foreign affairs. And then got a call one day from an advertising agency, just randomly, and they were looking for a copywriter.
Wow.
A technical copywriter, and I said, "Well, the pay is twice. I'm in." Then it started from there. So I worked in Aga McCann Group agency in Estonia for 11 years.
Wow.
And I did like everything in terms of product groups, from beauty products, from L'Oreal, and then from tampons to cars, and everything in between, milk and bread. And then I started getting interested into kind of wider marketing, not just writing. Although I studied translation, I have a master's degree in translation. But then I just kind of why do people say things like this? Or in marketing messages, why do you need to think what your customer needs?
Right.
And I studied communications through that, and ended up in Cleveron. So 5 years I was running the marketing team. 1.5 years I also ran the sales and marketing division. So one hand in sales as well. Very, very, very good period, because you know that there's a divide between sales and marketing. It's kind of naturally built.
Right.
And so you're trying to kind of put them together, but it doesn't really work. But I think now I get some pretty good ideas how to kind of match them. Very important is to have mutual goals. Not that sales is doing and marketing has their own goals. Sales has their own goals. Everybody's fighting who brought in the lead. But just kind of like unify the team, that there's not marketing and there's not sales, but there is a team.
Yeah.
Yes.
A revenue team.
A revenue team, yeah. So when I was little, I wanted to be a shop assistant because they always had candy, like in the workplace. I'm really good at making candies. But I ended up in marketing.
What is your favorite kind of candy?
An Estonian candy called Tallinn. It's a chocolate wafer candy.
How do you spell that?
Tallinn. Tallinn. Like name of the capital.
I was gonna say it's named after is it the same as the capital, or it's very similar to the capital?
It's the same as the capital.
Same
yes.
as the capital.
Yeah. Wow. And I think that candy has been I'm forever, I think maybe 50, 60 years at least. And it's kind of like a little rum flavor. Yeah, that's my number one favorite candy.
Nice. What were you saying? You were describing it? It's like chocolate with.
It's a chocolate candy with wafers, like a layer of wafers and cream, and it's not very sweet. It has a bit of rum flavor in it.
Oh, interesting.
It's very good.
That has me curious for sure. Have you had a Kit Kat? Is it like that?
Yes, kind of like Kit Kat. Yes, but Kit Kat is a sweeter side. It's
Right.
more like a darker chocolate
Oh,
thing.
it's rum flavored too.
Yes.
Wow. Look at that. Oh, I see there's several layers in there.
Yes.
Yeah. Look at that. Sweet. Very cool. So not the shop assistant. Do you still have candy nearby you now that you are senior marketing thought leader?
Yes. I even have a candy calendar,
Oh,
Christmas
you have a
calendar.
candy. That's great. That is so good. Well, I have a bit of a hypothetical question for you, uh, because I may actually have a time machine here in New Hampshire.
Lucky
And
you.
so let's say you come visit right after Mexico, come up to Boston. You get a chance to use the time machine, and the time machine, it goes back in time, and it's very specific though. You get to go and you get to visit yourself a few days after your undergrad, after you got
Mhm.
that degree, and you can talk to yourself. You can tell yourself anything you want. What would you say? Would you give yourself advice? What would you say to yourself?
Study more marketing. I mean, like academic study, because I think the perfect combination is experience and academics, then combined together. Study more marketing and be bolder to leave sooner to pursue marketing career, not just in a very narrow copywriter role, I would say, and buy Apple stock.
And buy Apple. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, that's kind of like, I feel like that's what Tesla is today, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. I feel
Yep.
like I feel like Tesla is kind of like that future Apple stock. Um, be bolder. I love that. The idea of just go get it. And thankfully you received a phone call on such and such day saying, come do this role. And now you're teaching other people how to do this. It's amazing that it was that one phone call that shifted you a little bit from.
One phone call, totally out of random. I didn't apply anywhere. I just had my CV in a CV online bank, and I just had renewed that. And because it turns out there's an algorithm that displays the CVs that had been renewed in the first. So somebody was just looking and called me.
Well, I guess recruiters aren't all bad then. There's some good to
No,
them.
they're not. They're I met a couple of very fun ones recently. So
Good. I'm glad. That means how many? 2, 3?
3, yes, I think 3.
Okay, so there's about 4 good recruiters on the planet, essentially.
Yes, probably you're right.
Yeah, totally. Oh, amazing. Oh, this has been so good. Thank you for coming on here and teaching me and sharing a little about your background and your story. I've enjoyed it so much.
I've enjoyed it too. One of the things I'm discovering is how much next to marketing, how much I love building teams, taking teams together, and tutoring and counseling and mentoring, working with people, sharing what I know.
Right. How can people get in touch with you?
I'm
Let's
in
say they're a
LinkedIn.
startup. They're a startup and they're in Estonia. And they have a giant jar of candy, but they don't have anyone to lead their marketing team, or they need some strategy. Or even, there's a lot of companies in the US that just need that senior level, hard work, clever, think big. How can they get in touch with you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I think that's the quickest and fastest place to get in touch with me. So Edith Väli on my LinkedIn account, and that's I think that's the fastest way.
Perfect. Reach out, say that they heard you on the podcast, and work with you and grow those startups. So I'm excited to see what you do. Don't work too hard on your vacation. Take a break.
Yes,
recharge batteries.
I'm learning. Yes, I'm learning how to take a break. So, and
yes.
that your idea of going to Mexico, it sounds very, very good.
Planted a seed.
Planted a seed. Yes. Think
hey,
big.
the flights are reasonable.
Yes. Why not?
Why not? Let's go. And you gotta send me a photo from Mexico, holding like a pineapple drink with a straw on it, or a little umbrella.
Yes, the FOMO picture.
Yeah, it's a FOMO picture. Exactly.
We're starting a new category.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, thank you so much for coming on here. It has been an absolute pleasure for me.
Thank you, Casey. It was really, really fun. I enjoyed it immensely.
And I think a podcast might be in your future based on this conversation. I think you're really good at it.
Well, thank you. Think big, remember.
Think
Never
big.
say no.
And for those listening, also think big. And if you learned something on this episode, and I know you did, because I have 2 pages of notes front and back over here. I learned something. And if you did too, then share this episode with someone else. 1 person, 9 people, 3,000 people, 2.4 million people, whatever the amount is. Get good information like this conversation into other people's hands. With that, Edith, thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation.
Thank you, Casey.
All right, everyone. This has been another exciting episode of the Hardcore Marketing Show. We will see you all next time.